Well, hello, friends, and welcome back to CWK Live every Monday night at 7 o'clock p.m. Central Standard Time. I'm your host, Dan Zare, thrilled to be talking Star Wars with each and every one of you. Looks like we've got our friends here with us as always. Let's say hello to Mary Purdue. Happy Monday to you, Mary. Mita is here. This is the way it's CWK Day. I love it. That should just be the tagline. Blake is fired up. What is up, CWK fam? What's up, Blake? Good to see you. Jamie talks something we're talking about very much in the Zare household these past few days. Happy MLB trading deadline eve. Yes, Jamie, it's been quite a day, especially if you're a Yankees or a Padres fan. Jason is here. He says, hello, I'm flying solo, but I have Henrik's top 5 list with me. Great. And Ross is here. Hello, Andor Monday. Yes, Ross, we will definitely be talking about that trailer. Brian is here as well. This is the Monday. There you go. So many clever people, so many clever little catchphrases as well. Got a fun show for you tonight, and Josh is here too. He wants to know, first of all, hi Josh, good to see you. He wants to know how many times did everyone watch the Andor trailer? Well, that's a good question. How many times did everyone watch the Andor trailer? I watched it once. I just watched it once. That's usually how I do this kind of stuff. I let it kind of process for a while. I'm sure we'll be talking about it a lot on Coffee with Kenobi. Certainly in the CWK Cafe, we'll be talking about it as well. It's pretty great, pretty spectacular. We'll probably save some of that for the end of the show, but for today's show, we've got a couple things. We've got top 5 moments from Star Wars Rebels Season 1 finale, Fire Across the Galaxy. We've got a great Lego Star Wars Summer Vacation interviews that I did a couple of days ago, and then, of course, your comments and questions. We're talking about Andor, too. Josh says 3. Mary watched it half a dozen, and Ross is on 4. It's really great. Really great. Yeah, I can't say too much about it, but yeah, really fun. Really, really spectacular. Welcome to all of you for joining us again. I'm your host, Dan Zare, on Coffee with Kenobi Live. Let's go ahead and take a look at what is brewing in the world of Star Wars this week. All right, so you know what? I still say for them. Let's talk about it now. I think the biggest thing brewing right now is the Andor trailer. Tell me really quickly in a sentence or two. Boy, I sound like I'm in teacher mode or something. I don't mean for it to be like that. Tell me what you think about the Andor trailer. Ben says, I've been working all day. Seems that I've missed a ton on the socials. Ben, there's been a lot going on, buddy. I'll just say for me, the Andor trailer took my breath away. It was much more intense and powerful than I expected. It's got a very, very suspense-filled vibe. Really, I was blown away. I was very pleasantly surprised and impressed. What about all of you? Lori's here. Hello, Lori. Lori says she liked it. Good, Lori. Glad to have you here. Dave simply says Andor with multiple exclamation points. I think that tells us what he felt about it. Aaron is holding out for Chopper to show up in Andor. Oh, Aaron, don't tease me, man. That would be so great. That'd be so great if that was actually the case. Let's see. What else do people have? Josh says, thrilled, love the spy and political thrillers. Awesome music. That's true. Ross has got all the grit and allure of Rogue One. That's true. I noticed that as well. Dave said it was so real, gritty, and amazing. The acting looks powerful. Blake says the trailer looks good, hoping the Rogue One vibes are consistent throughout. And Mary says there's going to be a lot in the show. I feel the trailer was epic. All very great, very insightful, very much right on the nose, I would say. Very much encapsulates my feelings on it. It looks like, I mean, of course it's going to be a character piece because it's Cassian Andor, but I don't know. I really am excited. This trailer made me very excited. I think this is exactly what we need. I don't even mind we have to wait a little bit longer because it'll just mean, I don't know. I as I say all the time, anticipation is my favorite thing about enjoying these stories, so I don't mind waiting a little bit longer. Mita says it was a great trailer, especially with Forrest Whitaker's epic return. I'll say that. I was really surprised to see Forrest Whitaker. I guess that makes sense in the timeline. But yeah, it looks like Saw's going to be in it. We saw that in the trailer. That's not a spoiler. It was in the trailer. Looks great. All right, speaking of great, the embargo is lifted. I can talk a lot more about the Lego Star Wars Summer Vacation. You may have read my tweets about it, and I may have said it last week. I can't remember, but it's my favorite of the Lego specials so far. It's great fun. It's funny. It's got some wonderful themes, and I feel like it advances the story of what they're doing in these Lego stories really, really well. Really, really well. Josh says that Mon Mothma looks awesome. She does. She really does. So I'm going to play for you a video of an interview I did with the writer and director of Lego Star Wars Summer Vacation. It won't spoil anything for you, but it's going to get you really excited about what's going on. So let's sit back and check out this video. I think you're going to really like it. Good to see you again, gentlemen. Great. Well, let's just kick it off. Joining me today on Coffee with Kenobi is the director of Lego Star Wars Summer Vacation Interviews, Ken Cunningham. Hello, Ken.
Hey.
Good to have you back on again, my friend. Also joining us, the executive producer and writer, David Shayne.
Hi, Dan. Thanks for having us back.
Of course, of course. Well, I mean, first off, thank you so much for creating Lego Star Wars Summer Vacation. It's a blast. Honestly, it's my favorite one so far, which is saying something because I feel like the bar is already quite high.
Oh, thank you.
Let's
just end the interview here. Let's dine out on that. We're not going to.
All right.
That's great. We're done. Goodbye.
Well, it's true. So there's a lot of fun things to talk about. Firstly, besides the different seasons, I mean, you know, you've got the holiday special, the Halloween one, now summer. What was important for you both about telling this particular story?
You know, it was a way of, as we were wrapping up the Halloween special and started thinking about what to do next, we were talking about these kind of family vacation moments and just thought it was a way to sort of tell this story and to see kind of Finn's journey and the way Finn is developing his force sensitivity and sort of him seeing that. And we realized there was a way to do this through this vacation prism. So we thought a summer vacation setting would be really fun for Star Wars and for Lego Star Wars, and it'd be really fun to see where Finn is in his journey. And those two things just sort of, to use a Lego analogy, kind of click together. So it just became a very fun way to tell those kinds of stories.
Yeah, no, absolutely. And I guess, you know, because David eloquently sort of stated the bigger meta story stuff. I mean, for me personally, it's just, and all three of these have been about this. It's just a way of sort of connecting with themes that connect me to my daughter. And, you know, like that just really resonate for me. So it becomes quite personal in a really nice way.
You know, and I feel like that's great to hear because I feel like that very much comes through because yes, there are a lot of laughs and there's a lot of fun. The Easter eggs are tremendous. But there's definitely some heart here. And, you know, there's that continual storyline you mentioned, the thread that's going throughout these specials that I think enriches the overall Star Wars story. And I think it really adds a fun little pop to the sequel trilogy. But for both of you, and Ken, we'll start with you on this one. What is about the sequel trilogy characters that inspire you as well as the existing characters that we know and love?
Well, I mean, in terms of the sequel characters, I mean, really, for me, what I love about them and what inspire me is that they're like my daughter's version of, you know, what Luke and Leia and Han were for me. Like I was 10 when the first film came out, and that kid that, you know, ate up all the media I could get. You know, we didn't have an internet back then, so you know, it was like Starlog magazine and stuff like that. And it's just been super cool to get to work on these characters that are my daughter's characters and my daughter's generation's characters and how the two of us can relate through that. Yeah, that's where it resonates for me.
I love that. And David, what about you?
You know, it is very fun to do the Lego iterations of those characters who are great. And, you know, we have actors who do most of the performances with them. You know, we're also lucky enough to get Kelly Marie Tran, who comes back and does a Lego version of Rose. You know, she finds a way to give it it's definitely Rose, but there's a spin on it, and just giving that little kind of askew bit of humor to it, just to find that Lego version is just incredibly satisfying. And then the rest of our cast completely brings it. I've been singing Omar Miller's praises for a while. He really found the heart of Finn in that story. And we put a lot of emotional weight on that and a lot of reliance on it. And boy, if that goes off the rails, it ain't gonna work at all. And he just, you know, to make a Star Wars analogy, he landed the Millennium Falcon. He utterly brings it, and that is incredibly satisfying. frankly. And Helen Sadler does an amazing job as Rey. Again, not just sounding like Daisy Ridley, but creating a real character and creating a Lego version of the character. And Jake Green's hilarious as Poe. He's super funny and he's hilarious in the records. And so it's getting to see these versions of these characters that we all know and love, adding in exactly what Ken said, plus all the ones that we grew up with, is just, it's a treat.
It's a great little, and I'm going to say sandbox because of our virtual backgrounds we're dealing with here. which is great, right? Yeah, but I think that's one of the reasons why I mentioned at the top, this is why I like this so much, because it's very funny, but there is heart and there's great emotion and pathos that comes through, which is a really fun thing. You expect to laugh and be entertained, but the story is really, really great. Another great part of this is, of course, the music. Music is a huge part of the Lego Star Wars Summer Vacation. How did Weird Al get involved, and what was that collaboration like?
It was incredible. We early on wrote this character, Vic Vanko, and we knew we wanted to do a beach blanket bingo style number. And somebody just sort of said, well, what if we got Weird Al? And then, it goes from like, what if to we have to. And you're just sort of moving heaven and earth and finding any way and just hoping, you ask your casting director, Lindsay Halper, to do it. And she reaches out to him and you hear that he's thinking about it and you're just hopeful. And then lo and behold, you get him. And I mean, it's to hear him sing a song that I got to co-write with Michael Kramer was just, I mean, it's a career highlight. As you might suspect, I would like to come up with some glib joke about it, but there's not. It was a career highlight.
Yeah. So Ken, did you have to direct Weird Al?
No, no. Well, I mean, really, like I just got to be a fanboy. I mean, really, yeah. Like, I mean, the real creation going on there was between Al and our composer Michael Kramer, and it was such an honor and privilege to get to just watch those two kind of riff together and work through all sorts of different ideas, and they were speaking the same language, and it was really cool to just get to watch that process.
Yeah,
wow.
They spoke musician to musician, and it was just, let's double this, let's harmonize this. What Al throwing out a falsetto and just watching those pieces get made is amazing.
Yeah.
What a really cool thing.
Yeah.
Thank you. Yeah, we were as thrilled as you would imagine we were. So
I mean, we frequently, just look at each other and like, we get paid to do this? Like, like...
Wait, you get paid?
Oh, Ken, I think you forgot to mute yourself.
I forgot to
So speaking of music, how about the dulcet tones of James Arnold Taylor singing as Obi-Wan Kenobi? What went into the creation of that song and that production? Because that was a great one too. I like that probably as much.
Oh, Dan, I love that you picked up on that and give the kudos to James, who was so game. We wrote this song. I had some lyrics scribbled down that we were going to do, and we realized that we needed to get it kind of done early so that Ken and his team could animate to it. So we got Michael involved in the process a little earlier than we normally do, and said, we want this kind of upbeat, kind of hip hop song, and Michael wrote a great tune to it and came up with the Gamorrean Girls part, and then we got in there with James and our amazing voice director Mary Elizabeth McGlynn. Just he was so game, like to find a way to do Obi-Wan and Lego Obi-Wan and to do a musical performance and a rap and to play the awkwardness at the beginning and the joy at the end. Like we put him through the ringer and he was game to do all of it. So I hope he gets to see this, because I'm glad you caught that. He was fantastic. It was just amazing.
Yeah, and it was so great to I was so happy we made the decision to get that stuff early, because it was so great to have that while I was working through storyboards and really like craft the visual against the music, as opposed to normally that kind of gets put on at the end. Yeah, really, I think it makes both those sections much richer that we were able to do that.
There was also something.
Agree.
Oh, sorry, go ahead.
No, I agree with that. It's just there's so much pathos and heart that comes through in that section too.
It's really wonderful to hear. I was just going to say, like, also again, singing Michael Kramer, our composer's praises, is that you watch that number and it is both a song, but there's also score that has to carry the action musically. And I don't think that's an easy thing to do. And Michael pulls it off with aplomb, and he is so gifted in doing all these different genres, even within one special, that it just is so, it's fun to get to hear it and watch it come to life like that.
It's so great. So I mean, we've alluded to some of the gags, and you would expect the gags, and you guys are just fun and hilarious anyway. So are there certain gags that stand out to you? I'm just gonna steal one right away and say the bit where Anakin comes out of the water with the Vader breath is really just like a rebreather, was pretty great. Kind of a nice little homage to how they originally created it anyway.
You beat me to it, Dan. It's a deep cut to Ben Burt using the respirator. And kudos to Ken's team for figuring out the lighting and all that, because if that doesn't carry, it's a sound and visual gag, and if they can't figure out how to do it, it won't land. So I'm thrilled that landed with you. We liked that joke. You were asking favorite jokes.
Yeah.
I personally, it's more of a dialogue joke, but I was really enjoying this time writing and seeing the tiny little interactions between Jabba and Boba Fett, and the way Jabba sort of undermines him. It was very fun to have that come together, and have Dee sort of nail it as Boba, just give that attitude to it.
Yeah, for me, I think some of my favorites are I love the Jawa pulling his cloak off and revealing full on bling. Little nod to that strange thing that Mark Hamill did on German TV. And I love the moment with the Imperial, who just happens to be a dancer, and he jumps out there, and love that gag. And I have a thing for gonk droids, so I kind of have a personal spot for the little gonk droid gags that we stuck in various places.
And I just remembered one, just going back to your point about James Arnold Taylor, the moment in Gamorrean Girls, Utini and Didi, like that was his improv, and it was hilarious. Like he said that, I was like, yep, to definitely make sure that gets in the song. Like, I mean, I remember literally asking our production team to make sure they pulled that piece out. We needed to make sure that got in the song. So those little spontaneous moments are pure joy.
I love that too. Yeah, I feel like that whole set piece with like everybody was joining in on the fun, and then kind of the Mission Impossible stuff going on in the backgrounds, trying to sneak in the coax team and stuff. It really works well. That's why I want to change gears a little bit. Having been fortunate enough to be a part of the initial media cruise for the Galactic Star Cruiser and getting to be on the Halcyon, I know the power of going in that ship, in that giant lobby area. How does the Halcyon help to kind of tell the story for you guys?
Can you?
Well, I mean, David, why don't you speak to the story stuff first? Because I mean,
sure.
It kind of becomes for me, it was just about visualizing it, but really it kind of underpins the story on a lot of levels.
So story-wise, we knew early on that we wanted to have the gang going on a vacation together, and as we were pitching as we were talking about the special, the Halcyon was in development. I don't even think it had been announced yet, and we realized somebody at Lucasfilm said, "Oh, this would be a really good setting," and talked to Jason Stein and Leland Chee at Lucasfilm, and got to read some of the initial sort of stuff that you ended up seeing in person, and just what they were planning for it, and went, "Oh, this is a great setting," and it is a way we knew early in the story we wanted to split the team the way we do and have Finn wind up on his own. It's like a cruise ship is a nice place where people can be off doing activities, you can play all that fun, but also someone can be off on their own, kind of lost in mentally in their world. And so from a storytelling perspective, it became a really obvious setting. It just felt very organic to it.
Yeah, and then my team, like we were able to, luckily that stuff was kind of being developed while we were sort of heading into design. So we were getting the privilege to see like all this great concept work that was generated for it. And, so we started to like try and build our own version of that. And then, we had to tackle the exterior, which hadn't really been worked out. So that was kind of our heavy lifting in terms of that not really being thought through yet. So we sort of designed that, throwing stuff over to the Lego group in Denmark, some of the designers over there, and then back to Lucasfilm. So it was like really a kind of a 3-way collaboration going on. 4-way, I guess, because it would, go to Lucasfilm, then go to DWI, and then come back to us.
Well, it really worked great. And even the parts of the Halcyon that they add to it, it just organically, it fit really well. Well, Ken and David, thank you both so much for coming back to Coffee with Kenobi. Really looking forward to the future. And of course, rewatching the Lego Star Wars Summer Vacation episode all over again. Thanks again, fellas.
Thanks for having us, Dan. Super fun.
There you go. These guys are great. They're fun. They're funny. And it very much jumps into the spirit of the Lego Star Wars Summer Vacation special. You're going to love it. I can't wait to hear what you're going to say about it. We're definitely going to do a top 5 of it like we do with all the Lego shows. We're going to give our top 5 favorite moments from the Lego Star Wars Summer Vacation very, very soon on Facebook Live. It's going to be great. And thank you so much for watching that. And thanks to the guys for coming back on the show too. They're really, really fun. Murray says, looking forward to this. Sounds like fun. Thanks, Dan, for sharing. My pleasure, Murray. Thank you for watching. I've got a couple of stills. You may have seen them online from the special itself, but I just want to pop them up there. If you're going next summer with me on the Halcyon, with MEI and Mouse Fan Travel and myself, you're going to be able to sit in this exact spot where Finn and it looks like a familiar Force ghost are having a conversation, enjoying a little bit of a beverage there. And there is the scene that we talked about with Obi-Wan Kenobi doing some singing and that great Hawaiian shirt. Oh man, you're in for such a treat. I almost want to pause the Facebook Live and go watch it again. Jason says, great interview. I really enjoy hearing creators talk about their art. Can't wait to watch it. Well, Jason, you are going to love it, my friend. You are absolutely going to love it. All right. Well, thank you so much again for that. Let's go ahead and shift gears a little bit and let's talk about the season 1 finale of Star Wars Rebels Fire Across the Galaxy. Of course, this came out years ago, but we wanted to rewatch it together as a CWK family. We're certainly going to continue watching Rebels. We may take a bit of a break before we jump into season 2 because there's so much Star Wars content going on. And I want to stay on top of that, but let's go ahead and take a look at this incredible episode. Top 5 moments from Star Wars Rebels Season 1, Episode 13, Fire Across the Galaxy. It's always fun picking out these images and deciding what we want to do with them or which ones I want to showcase because there's a lot of really great... I mean, Star Wars is such a visual medium anyway, but especially not only Star Wars Rebels, but this particular episode, the final episode in Season 1. Ben says, can't wait to watch it. I love hearing them talk about the music. I'm in Canada when it comes out. I hope I can find a way to watch it. Ben, you're gonna love it. I didn't know. I didn't realize. Are you going on vacation? I don't know, but that's great. I'm happy to hear your thoughts on it. You're going to absolutely love it. All right, let's talk about top 5s. Top 5s. Number 5 for me. At the very, very beginning, this is actually a screen cap right before it happens. But when Sabine works her magic, and very much almost like does a Spider-Man impression in this episode, it's really, really fun to watch. The animation visuals are really dynamic here. But after this explosion, there's the Firebird Rebels symbol that she likes to paint. Shows up in the smoke itself. Very much showing us what we're in for. Great stuff. All your best friends. What I will say, travels, man. It's going to be fun. Mary's number 5. The opening sequence with Sabine. Well, hey, speaking of, blowing up the TIE fighters and her logo forming from the smoke. The trooper calling her the artist. Yep, that's my number 5 as well. Minta's number 5 is a new paint job. Seeing what Sabine did to the stolen TIE fighter brought a smile to my face. Much better than the usual gray color. Yeah, I agree with that. It's really, really cool. And I like the reactions that they get to the TIE fighters too. So again, my number 5 is that image and the symbolism and what that all means. Pretty cool stuff. Wow, it looks like we've got another vote for number 5. This one's from Ross. The Starbird smoke plume at the end of the intro, subtle in an in-your-face way. Yes. I remember originally talking about this when it aired, and our guest, who is an artist, didn't catch it initially either. Jason's number 5, the artist is back. I love seeing Sabine's paint job. And Henrik's number 5, Sabine's painted TIE fighter. Look at this. We're all on the same page. Isn't that wild? I love that. Jamie's number 5, TIE fighter artwork. That's not regulation. I kind of like it. That's pretty good. I think that's more in the middle of the episode. That's a great moment, Jamie. Thanks for bringing that up. Blake's number 5. The stormtroopers at the beginning having this not again moment with Sabine. The troopers sometimes remind me walking into work my work truck on a Monday. Yeah, we get those sometimes, don't we? Brian's number 5. The artist is back. The ghost of the crew has the theft of an Imperial ship down to science. They've got plenty of practice doing these little experiments, don't they? Ben's number 5. Sabine's present. It's everything that she is. An awesome paint job and a bunch of explosives. Also, the shrug that Sabine and Ezra give to Hera when telling her about the tie. That's cool. Wow. So this part, these sequences and what's going on with the TIE fighters and Sabine, and we all really like that, which is really fun. I wonder if we're going to hold true for the rest of this episode. Probably. Let's go to number 4. Number 4 for me is, of course, these two together. You know, I'm a sucker for these two. I say it every single Monday when we talk about Star Wars Rebels. But there's a lot of important conversations these two have with each other in this episode. It's their friendship. It's the fact that Kanan cares so much about his friend that it helps to elevate him to be a better person, to be a better Jedi, to be a better friend. Their loyalty to one another is very inspiring. And I think they have the best dynamic as far as the relationship between Master and Padawan of any Master and Padawan in all of Star Wars. I've felt that since I've gotten to know these two characters, and I can't imagine that ever changing. And maybe it will, but I can't imagine that it will. Let's see. Minta's number 4. Connection. Seeing that Ezra and Kanan were able to sense each other through the Force proves that they have grown as master and apprentice, and they absolutely have. Blake's number 4. Zeb's response to the painted TIE fighter. It's like when your friend buys an ugly car, but they love it, so you just let it go. Well, that's a great little analogy there. And classic Blake Weaver style. Ross's number 4. Zeb giving the shut up signal to Ezra about revealing their hidden TIE fighter, going, yep, that they are supposed to have destroyed. That was funny. That got an LOL from Mason and I when we rewatched it the other day. I'm glad that you pointed that out, Ross. Jason's number 4. Chopper's decisive action to contract Fulcrum for help when the rescue plan started becoming more dangerous. And Henrik's number 4. Kanan and Ezra's battle versus the Grand Inquisitor. Awesome. Love it. Number 4 for Ben. The Sabine Rebel insignia and the smoke plume. You said it better than I could. Well, I just beat you to it. That's all. That's great. Love that one. Mary's next one after the rescue. Kanan and Ezra letting Hera know to go, and they will catch up. When they see the Inquisitor's tie and Ezra says they won't need it, Kanan's response is, great. You know what, kid? You worry me sometimes. Yeah, and they never really addressed that again, but it's played for laughs, and it's... Yeah, there's a little bit of layers there. I think that's pretty good. Good catch. Brian's number 4, the final battle with the Grand Inquisitor. Total Phantom Menace vibes. Oh, yeah. Mason and I joked. Whenever you see somebody on that catwalk in Star Wars, you know it's about to go down. It's about to be tricky. And challenging and dangerous for one of the two combatants. Jamie's number 4, Inquisitor mind games about Kanan's past. Not that I'm a fan, but I do find the tactics fascinating. I agree with that. He's a master manipulator, but that's very much, while he's not a Sith, that's very much a dark side thing. So I completely understand the psychology of it is interesting, if not that we agree with it, of course, but just that's something to be aware of. Okay, if I miss anybody for number 4, please jump in, but we're going to go ahead and jump into number 3. So, look, I'm so glad I got a perfect image of this. Again, these are all from StarWars.com. They do such great work over there. Thrilled to be able to jump in there and grab these things. But it's the move. It's the move when Kanan takes his lightsaber and Ezra's, which is, again, a symbolic. And he jumps in there and it breaks apart the Inquisitor's fancy little lightsaber doohickey. All Inquisitors have their blades to spin around because they're not as strong in the Force as Jedi, so they need a little bit of an edge. Kanan gets rid of that right away. That is the move. That's what I'm putting from my number 3. Minta's number 3. There are more frightening things than death. Those last chilling words from the Grand Inquisitor was definitely a foreshadowing of things to come. That's right, and to me it means look out because Darth Vader's coming, which we see later in the show, of course. Very powerful. Number 3 for Ross is a TIE fighter decorated by Sabine enters the Imperial hangar. Stormtrooper 1, that's not regulation. Stormtrooper 2, I kind of like it. That's the second person to bring that up. It's a great line. There's so many great lines in this season, in this series, but especially in this episode. Jason's number 3. Ezra reaching out with the Force to sense Kanan. His abilities continue to grow. And Henrik's number 3. The Grand Inquisitor's demise. What a relief. Yeah, he's dangerous, but he's also not a part of the story anymore. Blake's number 3 is the reveal of Ahsoka at the end. I was honestly never a real Ahsoka fan until she came into Rebels. She was close to my age in canon the first time I got reintroduced to her in Rebels, so I'm really connected with her a lot in this series from this point on. That's cool. That's good to know. I appreciate you sharing that with us. Ben's number 3, Ezra's line to Kanan when he rescues him. You have done the same for me. In fact, you have. A great reminder that Kanan chose to save Ezra at the beginning of the season. I loved seeing how the relationship has grown up to this episode. One that continues to percolate and grow throughout the entire season. Throughout the entire series, excuse me. Number 3 for Mary. The fight with the Inquisitor. Kanan using Ezra's lightsaber. Ezra summons Kanan's lightsaber from the Inquisitor. Kanan telling the Inquisitor he has nothing to fear now. Ezra being impressed with Kanan's duel with the Inquisitor. Yes. All of the above. There's just a lot of great things in that little duel, in that little battle itself, which I will certainly get to. But I'm going to go to number 2 now. Number 2 for me is the final reveal. Blake mentioned this a little bit ago, of who Fulcrum is. Fulcrum is Ahsoka Tano. I've said this a lot throughout this rewatch of season 1 of Rebels, but it can't be underestimated the impact this had for us. I don't know the exact time as far as in real world time from the end of the Clone Wars to when we finally got to see Ahsoka at the end of Star Wars Rebels. But it was several years, 3 or 4 years maybe. We didn't hear anything about Ahsoka, nothing about her, nothing about her fate. Didn't know what was going on. Did she live? Did she die? Did she reunite with Anakin before he turned? What happened with Ahsoka Tano? When all these things happened, when Clone Wars was canceled or just stopped airing, and then eventually we got Star Wars Rebels later, we didn't know what happened to Ahsoka. So to finally see her and realize she was going to still be a part of the story, you want to talk about goosebumps and fandom fireworks. Everyone was so excited. And as Blake just said, it created even more Ahsoka Tano and even more fans of this incredible character. One of the best Jedi, one of the best characters, period, in all of fiction to me. Can't underestimate enough how powerful seeing Ahsoka as Fulcrum was for us the first time we saw it. It's really, really breathtaking. All right, let's see what everybody else has. Let's see. I think I missed. Oh yeah, so I got Mary's. I didn't get to Brian's number 3. His was the slow reveal of Fulcrum at the end. The Royal Guards, the Hollow of Bail, and she slowly descends down the ladder. There you go, just like my number 2. I don't know about you, when I first saw this, I thought Bail was going to be Fulcrum, and then all of a sudden, here comes Ahsoka. Number 3 for Jamie was the battle with the Inquisitor as a whole. Between the weapons, the background, the back and forth, the outcome was one of the more enjoyable combats in any of the animated series. I agree with that. Number 2 for Blake, the Grand Inquisitor's last words, what it means is really open to interpretation, which is totally Lucas's Star Wars. I agree. I think it means Darth Vader's coming. He's way worse than me. You should have just stuck with me because, I'm not Darth Vader. And he was so scared of Vader that that's what he chose to do to himself. But I don't know. It could be something else. I think that's interesting. Blake. Josh's number 2 is also the reveal of Ahsoka. Minta's number 2. Vader steps onto Lothal. Things are taking a turn when Darth Vader gets involved. And you get the nostalgia of Ralph McQuarrie's work. Yes, yeah, I mean, that close-up of Vader is so cool. It's very Ralph McQuarrie, so much so. Good call, Minta. Ross is number 2. Kanan having a moment of clarity as a Jedi and taking the next step in his enlightenment journey as he defeats the Grand Inquisitor. Well said, as always, Ross. Number 2 for Mary. End of the episode, the Imperial March playing as Vader comes down the ramp. The show ends with just Vader's breathing, so chilling. So exciting, too. Jason's number 2. Kanan centering himself in the Force and then wielding 2 lightsabers in his duel with the Grand Inquisitor. Henrik's number 2. Zeb's comment about how they chose the only TIE fighter with a bullseye painted on it. I thought that was pretty funny as well. Brian's 2. Kanan's loss of fear when he thought he lost Ezra. He let the Force flow through him and let it guide his movements against the Grand Inquisitor. Ben's number 2, Ahsoka is revealed. Are you cheating and looking at my list? It's possible, Ben. Also, the small ragtag group is now officially in the rebellion, but with that, it invites a bigger threat, Vader, The ending of the season is poetry. Yeah, that's cool. I like how you said that. Jamie's number 2, all the great reveals and appearances. Take your pick. Ahsoka, Bail Organa, Vader. Love how the writers held on to all this for the season finale. Rebels is, I say all the time, Rebels is one of my favorite things in Star Wars, period. Books, movies, Disney Plus, animation, whatever. It's just great storytelling, and I think season 1 is almost a perfect season. And I think it ends absolutely wonderfully. But we got to get to number 1, don't we? Number 1 for me from this incredible episode, just the duel. I would place this duel among any duel in not only Star Wars animation, but Star Wars in general. Top lightsaber duels. I think we did one of these really early on when we started doing Facebook Live, but I think this duel is terrific. Absolutely terrific. The power, the way it advances the story, the way it advances the narrative of these characters, the cost and what it means, the resolution of it, the lighting, the sound effects, the music. It's pretty great. So the final duel for me is number 1. All right, let's see what everybody else has here. Number 1 for Josh, the final fight is one of the best lightsaber fights in Star Wars. There you go. Josh, I'm honored I'm in the same company as you for that one. Means number 1, Ahsoka's return. Shocker. I'm not shocked at all. I don't think anyone is. I love that, Minta. I think fans knew early on she was Fulcrum, but it solidified when she appeared before the Ghost Crew. That's bringing happy tears to my eyes. Really great. Jamie's number 1, Kanan overcomes his fear of the past, of losing those closest to him, but still believing in the Force and becoming more brave in the process. Well said, Jamie. Next we have Blake. The confidence shown by both Kanan and the Grand Inquisitor in the battle at different points. The Inquisitor igniting the double blade followed soon after by Kanan's dual-wielding sabers. It was poetry in a way to me. Again, pure Lucas style of storytelling. Yep, it's great. It's genius. Mary's number 1, Ahsoka's reveal as Fulcrum. She tells Ezra he is now starting along a new path. They are all starting on a new path with the rebellion truly taking shape. As Ahsoka says, this is a new day, a new beginning. Yes. Jason's number 1, the Alliance fleet's dramatic appearance in Ahsoka's entrance. So exciting to see one of my top 3 favorite Jedi on screen again. Henrik's number 1, the appearance of Ahsoka and Vader, Master and Apprentice. Ooh, I like that. Really appreciate that you did your homework, Henrik, even though you're not able to join us tonight. It's so cool. Thank you for that. Brian's number 1, the introduction of Vader. How can you top the reveal of the secret character of Fulcrum and you think it will end on a good note, but no? Such good writing. Yeah, it's great. It's like those two are intertwined. Ross is number 1, the reveal of Fulcrum and it being Ahsoka right on the heels of Bail Organa being introduced to the entire Rebel cell. Her exchange with Ezra made me think of Rosario and the Mandalorian. Where is Grand Admiral Thrawn? I thought about that too. I really did. Ben's number 1, I literally wrote down the whole lightsaber battle. See, same boat again. I really liked the Grand Inquisitor's final line. There's something far more frightening than death that left me pondering for a while. Yeah, it was cool. It's cool to think about. I'm glad I'm in good company coming up with the same things as you have come up with, Ben. So thank you. Well, thank you, everybody. Well, we're done with season 1 of Star Wars Rebels. Next week, we're not going to jump into a top 5. In fact, next week, as promised, I'm going to take you on a tour with me. Next week, we're actually going to start a little bit early. We're going to start at 6:30 next week instead of 7 o'clock. And I'm going to give you a tour of Wrigley Field, home of the Chicago Cubs. Now, why am I giving you a tour of Wrigley Field? What does that have to do with Star Wars? Well, next Monday, August 8th, is Star Wars night at Wrigley Field. Again, Major League Baseball does promotions at some of their parks where they have a special giveaway, and they have a lot of Star Wars themed music and different things happening during the game. So it'll be me, Mason, Ross Holliman, and LJ Souter, and some of their friends and family are going to be with us. And we're going to be there live at 6:30. And we're just going to talk, hang out, and I'm going to show you what I can of Wrigley Field and some of the different Star Wars things and items that I'm going to see there. Blake says, if we were to have a top CWK live top 5 list of top 5 nights, this would make the list. Oh, cool. I'm glad, Blake. That means a lot. Minta is excited. Yay, a tour. Yep, happy to take you. Brian is also excited for the tour. Can't wait for it. It's going to be fun. Jason's honorable mentions Ahsoka and Vader's appearance juxtaposed with one another. Never noticed that before. You know what? I hadn't either. The squad of stormtroopers with black pauldrons, even if their aim isn't any better than regular stormtroopers, at least the dudes look like they mean business. That is for sure. Josh says he's only been there once. Well, Josh, you can help us with that. Blake says, can't wait to see Wrigley. And Ben says, I love that, Blake. What's your top five? Yeah, how meta. What a great meta commentary. All right, let's jump into Ask Dan Z. Okay, well, I guess we did talk about Andor already, but if you have any questions for me or want to ask anything about Star Wars or the show, feel free to do that. Brian says he's going to Indianapolis Indians AAA Pirates game tomorrow night. It is not Star Wars night. That's back on the weekend of May the 4th. Oh, that's cool. Brian, have a great time, man. Baseball games are always fun with your family and friends, so I think that'll be really, really fun. By the way, our family, our community continues to grow. There's been more things happening in the world of Star Wars in Coffee with Kenobi this week on Pour Over. It's a catch-up. We're going to hear Corey talk about his trip to New York. Of course, Corey's the co-creator of Coffee with Kenobi, does all the logos for me. I talk about my trip to London and Paris and some things going on for me in Star Wars. And then Tom talks about some great stuff he's done at school over the summer with Dungeons & Dragons. So if you're a member of the CWK Alliance, you're able to get access to that show. We have video, and we also have the actual podcast feed itself. Again, that is if you want to join the CWK Alliance. CWK Alliance, not only do we help out me and support Coffee with Kenobi, but 10% of your monthly contributions go directly to the St. Jude Children's Hospital. Blake says, with the Lego, I got to ask, what's the Star Wars Lego set you want? Personally, I want the Nebulon B frigate set. That's rare. That's cool. What I want is to finish this one. That's what I want. I've got this sweet land speeder one, and I just got the two top parts to finish. And I just haven't done it yet because I've been very busy doing other stuff for the show and doing stuff with my family and swimming in our house and stuff like that. So that's what I want. But I like that Death Star, the trash compactor trench. I've never seen that one anywhere. I think that one's cool. Blake, hopefully you get the Nebulon B frigate. Ross says, do you think getting more background saw will allow you to soften your stance on him? You know, that's a great question. And that actually kind of crossed my mind when I saw him in that trailer. So, I don't know. I feel like he'd be a hard character to soften on because, I mean, he's a tragic character. I understand what's going on as far as, well, I don't understand because I haven't experienced what he has experienced in his life, albeit fictional. So, I don't know. Let's table that, Ross, and come back to that. That's a great question. Ben has offered to happily finish with it. All right, Ben, that sounds good. And Josh says, hard to feel sympathy for a terrorist. I feel like, Josh, I don't know if you've already done a case for Saw Gerrera yet or not. Maybe we need to wait until I have more of a story. But when you do, maybe Ross needs to be like a witness. That would be super fun. Oh, I like this. I like the possibilities of this. Well, again, thank you, everybody, for joining me this week on Coffee with Kenobi. Don't forget, next week, an alternate time, same day, Monday night, of course. But we're going to be looking at, we're going to be touring Wrigley Field because it's Star Wars night there. And, okay. And sorry, I'm just resizing something here for myself. It's going to be live from Wrigley Field. It's Star Wars night. We're going to take you on a tour of it. I think it's going to be a lot of fun. It's going to be a lot of fun to be able to experience it with all of you. Very much looking forward to that. Ross is going to join me. LJ is going to join me. And Jason Mason is going to join me too. I can't wait to bring you all on. Brian says, good luck to you and Mad-Eye Mason on the new school year. Thank you so much, man. We're not that far away. Mary says, have a great week. See you at the ballpark next week. Sounds great. Meantime, may the force be with you. And Ben, safe travels. Enjoy your trip to Canada. I love spending time with all of you. It's been so much fun. Blake, awesome CWK night. Much needed today. Love you all. And it's Baseball Fanatic. Can't wait for next week. It's going to be fun. It's going to be fun. Always great to have you all here. Jason, great to be with you tonight as usual. Have a great week, everybody. May the force be with you. Hey, Ross, see you later, my friend. We will see you next week. Looking forward to that. Josh, be well, too. What else do I want to tell you? Oh, by the way, if you've been watching Light and Magic, then you know I was very fortunate to be able to interview Phil Tippett, Dennis Muren, Jan Lewin, and Lawrence Kasdan about Light and Magic and ILM's contributions to Star Wars and the world of film and entertainment. What a great honor to be a part of those interviews. Heard from a lot of you, text messages and emails and things like that. Thank you so much. Spread the word. It was actually show number 550. Seems like a really good show for 550th. And don't forget, next summer, going to be here before you know it, you can join me on the Galactic Star Cruiser, Walt Disney World Coffee with Kenobi, and Emmy and Mouse Fan Travel going together on the Galactic Star Cruiser, meaning not only will you get to tour the Halcyon with me and help me go against the First Order or the Resistance, or maybe join the Jedi, but also you can go to Batuu and Galaxy's Edge as well. I think that's everything that I have to share, so until next time, everybody, we'll see you next Monday night at 6:30 p.m. for a new time just for next week, to tour Wrigley Field for Star Wars Night. Have a great week, everybody, and remember, this is the podcast you're looking for. See you next time.